Grady Demond Wilson, born on October 13, 1946, and passing peacefully on January 30th, 2026, lived a life defined by intention, endurance, and deeply held faith. To millions of television viewers, he will forever be Lamont Sanford, the steady and thoughtful son on the classic NBC sitcom Sanford and Son, which aired from 1972 to 1977. Yet limiting Wilson's life to that single role would miss the richness of his journey. He was many things over the decades: an actor, a soldier, an author, a pastor, and above all, a devoted family man. His career brought financial stability and public recognition, but those were never his proudest achievements. What mattered most to Wilson was the integrity with which he lived, the faith that guided his choices, and the compassion he showed others. His legacy is not only remembered, it is felt. Roots in Georgia and dreams forged in New York. Although Grady Demond Wilson was born in Valdosta, Georgia, his future began to take shape after his family relocated to New York City during his childhood. The city's energy, diversity, and artistic pulse awakened something powerful in him at a remarkably young age. By the age of 4, Wilson had already appeared on a Broadway stage, an early sign of the path ahead. He studied tap dance and ballet with discipline well beyond his years, learning control, timing, and expression through movement. At just 12 years old, he performed at Harlem's Apollo Theater, a venue steeped in cultural and historical significance. For a young black performer, that moment carried meaning far beyond applause. Each performance reinforced a quiet belief that storytelling mattered and that he belonged in spaces where art could move, challenge, and connect people across backgrounds and generations. Faith, fragility, and a promise that endured faith played a central role in Wilson's upbringing and would later shape the course of his entire life. Raised Catholic, he served as an altar boy and once considered becoming a priest. Summers spent with his Pentecostal grandmother, Ada Mitchell, introduced him to another expression of spirituality that left a lasting impression. At 13, Wilson faced a life-threatening medical emergency when his appendix ruptured. The experience brought him face-to-face with mortality at an age when most children feel invincible. In that moment of fear and uncertainty, he made a promise to God that if his life were spared, he would one day serve a higher purpose. Though fame and success would come first, that vow never faded. It remained quietly present through every achievement, waiting for the moment when it would finally be fulfilled. Service, sacrifice, and the weight of war. From 1966 to 1968, Wilson served in the United States Army as a member of the 4th Infantry Division during the Vietnam War. The experience was intense and transformative, exposing him to hardship that few are prepared to face. He was wounded in combat and returned home carrying both visible and invisible scars. The emotional toll of war stayed with him, shaping his worldview and deepening his sensitivity as an artist and as a man. Rather than allowing those experiences to harden him, Wilson found ways to process them through creativity. Upon returning to civilian life, he immersed himself in stage work, appearing in Broadway and off-Broadway productions. Acting became a form of healing, a way to give voice to pain while also rediscovering hope. These years forged the resilience that would define the rest of his life. From stage to screen, and a career taking shape. Wilson's transition from theater to screen unfolded steadily, guided by patience rather than ambition alone. He began landing guest roles on well-known television series such as Mission, Impossible, and All in the Family, where his calm presence left a strong impression despite limited screen time. He also appeared in films including The Organization in 1971 and Dealing, or the Berkeley to Boston 40 Brick Lost Bag Blues in 1972. These roles sharpened his craft and prepared him for a far greater opportunity. Casting directors recognized something unique in Wilson, a grounded authenticity that made characters believable and relatable. Each project added another layer to his experience, quietly positioning him for the role that would define his public identity. When that moment arrived, he was ready, both technically and emotionally, to step into television history. Becoming Lamont Sanford and television history in 1971, Grady Demond Wilson was cast as Lamont Sanford on Sanford and Son, a role that would permanently link his name to American television culture. His portrayal of Lamont, the patient and principled son of the stubborn Fred Sanford, became the emotional anchor of the series. Acting opposite the legendary Red Fox required balance, restraint, and confidence, all qualities Wilson brought effortlessly to the screen. Their chemistry blended sharp comedy with genuine affection, giving the show its heart. Audiences didn't just laugh, they connected. The series quickly became one of the most beloved sitcoms of its era, drawing millions of viewers each week. Wilson's performance proved that strength could be quiet, and that emotional intelligence could be just as powerful as punchlines in creating lasting comedy. Carrying the show and choosing grace. In 1974, when Red Fox temporarily left the show due to a contract dispute, Wilson unexpectedly found himself carrying much of the series. He stepped into the responsibility with professionalism and composure, ensuring continuity during a turbulent period. While Fox eventually returned, the experience left an emotional mark. Wilson later shared that the deepest hurt was not the departure itself, but learning about it indirectly rather than through a personal conversation. Despite this, he chose forgiveness over resentment. He understood that the bond they shared on screen was real and visible to audiences. Rather than allowing disappointment to define him, Wilson moved forward with grace. That choice reflected the character he played and the man he was becoming. His response revealed emotional maturity and reinforced the respect he earned both on and off the set. New roles, writing, and a calling fulfilled. After Sanford and Son ended in 1977, Wilson continued working with determination, appearing in projects such as Baby, I'm Back, and The New Odd Couple, as well as films spanning several decades. Over time, however, another calling grew stronger. In 1984, he fulfilled the promise made in his youth by becoming an ordained minister in the Church of God in Christ. Faith became central to his identity, influencing his writing and public work. He authored books rooted in Christian beliefs, including New Age Millennium and his memoir Second Banana, which offered honest reflection on his career and personal struggles. Ministry, not fame, became his focus. He devoted himself to service, faith-based projects, and spiritual guidance, finding fulfillment that fame alone had never provided. Family, faith, and an enduring legacy. Wilson married model Cicely Johnston in 1974, and together they raised 6 children. Family remained his anchor through every season of life, providing stability beyond the spotlight. Fame never replaced his commitment to home, faith, and service. Grady Demond Wilson passed away at age 79 from cancer-related complications at his home in Palm Springs, California. His passing marked the end of a remarkable chapter in entertainment and faith leadership. He leaves behind a legacy defined not by celebrity, but by humility, courage, and purpose. He made people laugh, but he also made them think and reflect. Though the screen may have gone dark, the values he lived by continue to shine. His life reminds us that true success is measured not by visibility, but by the impact we leave behind.